It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
A splendid day to talk hockey. It's Saturday, and what's that mean? Hockey night in Canada, baby. Montreal in Toronto. Hey, Original Six, huge rivalry. Big one. Every game's big this year with the parity that we're getting in the NHL right now. It's absolutely nuts. So tonight's game, I thought they might call up Sammy Blais. Blais been playing well, and I thought, the team that put him on waivers again, and then the team that he was with before in St. Louis the next night, thought maybe Sammy'd get the call up, but I guess they're going with the same lineup the last game. Everyone played pretty well, so I guess I understand that too, right? And hopefully Davidson, he's probably not got too many chances left to impress here, but I'm glad that he stayed up. He earned it with his play in Laval this year, so I'm hoping he starts to get some points. It'd be nice, mind you, playing 5 to 10 minutes a game. It's tough to do that, especially on a line with Veleno, who is not exactly getting a pile of points. So Sammy's in. Did they call up Sammy? I hadn't seen that yet, but I've been busy getting ready. So, well, that makes sense then. I'm glad to hear that. Is that confirmed, Sammy? They called up Sammy Blais? Because I figured they might, but little surprised that, like, are they going to play him 3 straight nights? Maybe what they plan to do. Oh, okay. Well, they didn't call him up, right? So, I mean, he played last night. If he didn't play last night, it would make sense. But I don't think they're gonna make him play, back to back, and also like 3 nights in a row. Just not plausible. If he was playing tonight, he wouldn't have played last night in Laval. But anyways, against Belleville. Yeah, so this is a special edition where we're going to talk about the 6th to 10th ranked prospects. Now, if we look at just a sec here. Here's the top 5: Reinbacher, Jarosky, Fowler, Hage, Pickford. That was, I mean, the top 4, I think, go without saying, that they're in the top 5. I don't think many would argue that. You can debate whether Pickford's 5 or not. And the guy that I have 6, I think maybe quite a few people have in the top 5. But it's pretty easy. I think those top 4 are pretty obvious choices. However, 5 to 10, hey, you can argue lots of ways, and I'm sure there won't be anybody that agrees completely with my 6 to 10 list. They might not even think 3 of them, but pick your poison, right? The Canadiens, the way I looked at it and the way I did it was, it's the Habs top-ranked prospects, the ones most likely to find a regular spot in the lineup. Now, I'm not saying that it's their best prospects from 6 to 10. For me, it's the prospects in the organization that I think stand the best chance in projecting down the road of having a spot in the Canadiens lineup. So there are some more talented players than the ones that I have in here, but taking into account positions, taking into account who's already in spots, these are the guys that I think stand the best chance of one day being in the Canadiens lineup and contributing. Now, this is with the assumption too that the Canadiens are going to be a playoff team, and I believe that to be the case. And also, the top 5 guys, I'm assuming they're all going to find spots in the lineup down the road. So when you take those things into account, these are the guys that right now, and I mean, this will change. It could change next week, but it'll change. It's fluid, right? It'll 3 months from now, I'll do this again, and I'm sure it'll be different. At the very least, it'll be different order, and probably a couple of guys out that aren't in. Now, I'll get to some reasoning why certain players weren't in there, certain positions weren't maybe, but you'll get a better idea. I think I'll explain it fairly well. My reasoning behind why I think these are the next 5 that are most likely to find spots in the Canadiens lineup someday. Mind you, there may not be, there may not be 10 prospects in the system right now that end up playing regularly in Montreal. First of all, they could, they could trade for a player or two that can play in their top 6 or top 4 or whatever the case may be, that will knock one of the 2 of these guys out of the contention. And there's always surprises to guys that end up winning places that you don't expect, right? But anyways, let's without further ado, let me go. I'll go from 10 up to 6, and we'll discuss it later. I'm sure there'll be lots of people that have suggestions, and there'll be lots of people surprised, and all that jazz. So number 10, I have Hayden Papanicus. Now, he was a 3rd round pick last draft, so the Canadiens hold high hopes for him. He hasn't had a terrific start to the year, but we have to give him a bit of leeway because of him having mono. Now, these are just his hits, okay, or some of his hits this season, and there's a bit of a theme on this because I really truly believe that the guys that are ranked outside of the top 5, the ones that stand the best chance are ones with the triple S: size, sandpaper, and surliness. And you're going to see that theme in these players, because down the road, Anderson, Evans, Gallagher are certainly 3 of the spots that are going to be have to be replaced. And that, there was one of his goals, but the reason I've got Papanicus at number 10, first of all, size, grit, play center, and I think he has probably the best package to be the 4th line center down the road and replacing Evans. He's got good 2-way ability. Mind you, he's going to have to. The big thing with him is his inconsistency, but he's got a really good shot. He's got goal scoring ability. He can contribute at both ends of the ice. The potential is extremely high with this player, and they really are going to need size and sandpaper in the bottom 6 if they want to down the road, if they want to do things in the playoffs. It's going to be imperative. And I think Papanicus, if he puts it all together, now, really potential wise, he might be top 6 or 7 on the Canadiens, but because he's a really good skater for 6'4", he's got a really good shot. There are some tools that are very intriguing, but he's got to put them all together. Now, potential wise, he's top 10 all day in the Canadiens, because he fills a need, fills a role, and he's got the tools and the potential, if everything gets put together, to be a good bottom 6 center in the NHL. So Papanicus at this point is number 10. I'm glad that he's going to the Memorial Cup. I think that'll be a good experience for him. Next year will likely be his breakthrough year, but I also suspect, I think he goes home, gets good rest during the Christmas when there's not a lot of games, comes back stronger, because it's tough. Very rarely do you see somebody the first month, 2 months after they've had mono really be up to full strength, right? It saps your energy, something fierce. We saw it with Koivu. We've seen it with a lot of prospects over the years, that it just takes a while to get fully up to speed after having mono. So he's number 10 at this point. And let's go to number 9. He happens to be on the Habs roster right now, and that is Jared Davidson. Still considering him a prospect. He's only played a handful of games, but you see that play there. And again, I'm focusing on what they can bring, what they're going to have to play like to get spots in the bottom 6, because outside of the top 5 prospects, I don't see anyone that screams either top 4 defenseman or top 6, and maybe not even top 9 forward. They're all in tough, put it that way. But here's a few highlights of Davidson and what he brings from a sandpaper competitive point of view. But we also know, like, he's been scoring goals in the AHL this year, and just continued to improve at the pro level, right? And certainly earned a call up. But as you can see by these highlights, he finishes his checks. He's got the only reason why he probably isn't a little higher here is just, I don't know that he can, like, he's not going to overpower at the NHL level. He can hit, and he can be a disturber, but he's not very big, and he's not very fast. So I think he's limited in his upside down the road. Like, he's not, ideally, I don't know that he's, I almost think that he has to win a third line spot and score goals in the NHL. And I think he's capable of it, right? But as you'll see as we go along here, I think you'll see that I have what I have in mind for the Montreal's consummate fourth line down the road that I think is going to help them win important playoff games when they are true contenders. But Davidson, it's hard to keep him out of the top 10 now because he's, Laval's best player up front so far this year. Continued improvement on the Canadiens right now. So obviously they like him, and he's not very old, right? He's still got improvement to do. So I think he can still improve his skating some. Like, you look at a guy like Jake Evans, right? When he was 20, he needed to improve his skating. He did. When he was 21, needed to improve his skating. He did. 23, he improved his skating even more. If he works as hard, and I think all indications he's a hard worker off the ice because he is on the ice, improves the skating a little more, gets a little stronger, keeps improving, getting experience at the pro level. He's got a shot at being a bottom 6 winger on the Canadiens down the road. The heart, smarts and heart are two things that he has in spades, and that's something that the Canadiens will need in the future in their bottom 6. So I've got Jared Davidson at number 9. Number 8. This one's probably going to surprise some people, but I've got Tyler Thorpe, the Torpedo. Now, he's not off to a great start points-wise in the Laval this year, but you got to keep in mind that he turned 20 years of age in August, this past August. So this is his learning year. Look at, again, what I'm focusing on here are hits and what he could bring to a fourth line on the Canadiens in the future, I believe. His skating, like he obviously at 6'5", it's a work in progress, but certainly once like any 6'5", 20-year-old, he's got to work on his first 3 steps. I mean, it's just the way it is. But when he's going, he's got good speed. His skating isn't, I don't think, will be an issue, but it's something that will need a couple of years, right? But as you can see from all of these highlights, he can be a beast on the forecheck. And I really think, you look at Florida, right? They had fourth lines with Xhekaj, AJ Greer, Luosterainen on the third line. Big, heavy guys that just wear down opposing defenses. Montreal, I think, is working towards having that in the future for these what they hope will be long playoff runs. You can't have just 12 skilled guys in the lineup. You're going to get killed in the playoffs. You need the guys that can wear down defensemen for the skilled guys that are in the top 6 and top 9. And I envision a future line with Thorpe and Papanicus on it, right? A fourth line that just, you look back at, those successful Vegas teams in the past 4 or 5 years. For a few years there, they had Nick Roy, Colasar, and Reeves. Those guys just ran roughshod over defensemen and really wore down opposing defenders. And I mean, the more you get hit, no defenseman loves getting hit continuously into the boards. And as you can see by those highlights, Thorpe has the size and he can really hurt you. He's still only 20. He's got to get stronger, got to get a little faster. But I think he comes back next year, and next year will be his breakthrough at the AHL level. He's obviously a couple of years away, but we're not projecting who's, it's not the 10 most NHL ready prospects. It's the 10 that I think will at one point help the Canadiens down the road, right? Thorpe, we've seen it against his peers in 2 rookie camps now, tournaments. He produced and he showed he's got a very good shot. He can make plays, so he's not just going to be a guy that hits, right, and uses his size. He can fight too. He hasn't fought at the AHL level yet, but I think he's probably been told, look, just wait. You're up against men here. Give it a little time. Get a little stronger. Next year will be your year to flourish at the NHL level. And I think you'll see, or at the AHL level, you might even see it by playoff time this year that he's ready to make an impact with points as well as, I mean, he's playing fourth line 8 to 10 minutes typically. It's tough. It's tough to flourish with that kind of ice time and lack of opportunity. It will come. He's only 20. The AHL's a tough league, big league, men, full of men. And I see Thorpe. He's going to have the skating, the size, the enough skill to get some points, get some goals at the NHL level. He was quite productive in junior, scored a lot of nice goals, and I think he can do it down the road too once he gains the experience. But again, he's a guy I think is will be the ideal fit for third, fourth line in the future, that the Canadiens and Marty St. Louis on record saying it. They need more sandpaper. They need more size, sandpaper, surliness, the 3 S's. Thorpe brings it more than any other prospect, I think, on the team, except for perhaps for one guy who just happens to be the 7th ranked prospect on our list here. I think folks probably know who I'm talking about. Go with the flow. And again, I'm gonna show heavy forechecking and hits, because that's as I say, the Montreal's prospects outside of the top 5, to me, the ones that stand the best chance of winning spots are these guys. I think that they bring the qualities that the Canadiens are going to need in their lineup come playoff time, trying to win 16 friggin' playoff games, wear down opposing defenses, bring some sandpaper, drop the gloves if you gotta. And here's a good one. There's a hit by Thorpe, and then in comes Xhekaj to lay a hit. That's the kind of fourth line that the Canadiens are going to need when they're ready to win important playoff games. I think you look at Washington. You're right. They had that type of team, right? The size, the wore down our defense in the playoffs last year. Montreal, again, have these guys come out, punish the defensemen, have them worn down for the top 2 lines or even top 3 lines, right? Have get them looking, getting rid of the puck quicker than they'd like to. And then you still have a guy like Slav on the top line that can do that as well. Like, to me, it's these guys that are the key, and I think it's why they all got picked in the first few rounds as a rule. Like I think Thorpe was 4th or 5th round, but Xhekaj 4th round, right? Papanicus 3rd round. That there's an organizational need, and they know that. But you can see by all of these that that's what Xhekaj is going to need to do at the NHL level to carve out a spot. He's not going to be a finesse guy in the NHL. Doesn't have the speed, but he plays with he plays an up and down, heavy, gritty style. There's a spot for Florian on Montreal's 4th line down the road. So yeah, none of these are sexy, but I think that realistically, these are all guys that I think stand a better chance than some of the finesse picks that are like Koivu, LJ Mooney. Hey, a lot of people are probably going to be saying, I'm not looking at the comments. I'm holding off on that, but I'm sure a lot of people think, what about LJ Mooney? Fair, skill-wise, he's more skilled than all these guys. He's faster, but Canadians got plenty of that. And Jurowski and Hage are coming. Those top 4 prospects, right? They're in that group. So I just don't see, ideally, LJ Mooney's not playing on your 4th line in the playoffs, right? It just doesn't make sense. How many Stanley Cup winners can you name that had a 5-7 playmaking, speedy 5-7 playmaking bottom 6 player? It's rare. It just doesn't fit. It just doesn't work. You've got to have a mix there. And as much as I like LJ Mooney's skill, his speed, he's super fast, fun to watch. I think he's more of a trade asset than he is a future difference maker in Montreal's lineup. Although he can, he could defy the odds and find a spot some way. I'm not dismissing him. In fact, there's a damn good chance he'll be 11 to 15 somewhere, which is still a good prospect, right? However, him and Koivu and Logan Sawyer, when you look at, none of them are better than Hage and Jurowski. And to me, there's only 2 spots in the top 9 in the future that are up for grabs, and those two are the favorites to get them. Now, if one of them's traded, then maybe LJ Mooney, gets a spot down the road. But this is not even talking about picking up one or two top 9 guys, veterans from other teams. So it's just a numbers thing, right? More than anything. And goalies too. I'll talk about that after and explain why none of them were 6 to 10. Um, here's number 6, and I don't think there's any surprise here. It's Adam Engstrom. I mean, the kid, by most rights, he should be playing in the NHL right now. I think there's a handful of teams where he would be on the blue line. I'm not going to show hits on him. I'm going to show a few skilled plays. But hey, 6'2", beautiful skater, good with the puck, smart, dependable, just gotten better and better. There's a big overtime goal that he scored. Beautiful. He's got great skill. He can work on a power play. Mind you, I don't see him spot on Montreal's power play anytime soon. But and here he is with another big goal. The kid, there's no doubt about it that he has NHL potential, and he might even have top 4 NHL potential. It's just Montreal is so stacked on the left side. It just and he doesn't necessarily bring the components that maybe they'd be looking for in the next player that joins the team on defense. So he's in tough, becoming a regular in Montreal, I do believe. The fact that he can play on the right side, at least at the AHL level, helps him. But will he play? Can he? He hasn't proved that he can play on the right side at the NHL level, and there's a difference. Like Jaden Struble played a fair bit on the right side in college at one point, and showed that he could. He played last year at times on the right side, and I thought he acquitted himself fairly well. But does that mean because Engstrom's been playing on the right in the AHL that he can do, he can step in and be better than Struble on the right if the situation was called upon? You don't know till it's been tried. Now, will it ever be tried? I don't know. I do know, I think, that in keeping with this sandpaper theme, that if they want to start to make an impact at playoff time, they need more physicality. And Adam Engstrom isn't a wallflower. He can. I'm not calling him soft by any means. I just think Struble and Xhekaj bring a more physical presence, and they are more needed because the top guys aren't, with the exception of Goalie, but he's never healthy. They're not physical, really. So the most competitive of the bunch are the 2 smallest guys. So, which is fine for them, but it still doesn't fill the need that you need. You need some size, physicality in a couple of your blue liners. Hey, the one time Montreal's made it to the Cup final in the last 32 years, they had Weber, they had Edmondson, they had Sherrod. Those were 3 of their top 4 defensemen, and it was size and physicality that wore down other teams, right? Wore down Matthews, wore down Toronto's forwards, wore down. Were able to withstand that bottom 6 that Vegas, that heavy bottom 6 that they had, So again, this isn't a sexy list, this 6 to 10, but it's a realistic one, I think. And there aren't a dozen players, prospects in Montreal's system, because there's so many good young players on the team already. I don't believe that you'll see it. We can argue about 10 other guys, but there may not be any of them that make the team in the future because there's just so many good. They have so many under 25 pieces that are on the team that aren't going anywhere. That they're going to be there in 3-4 years, and they're not. These guys, the guys ranked 10 to 20, are not going to be beating them out for spots. Probably not. I mean, never say never. For there's always a surprise here and there, but anyway, that's my logic behind the guys ranked 6 to 10. I'll start looking at your thoughts in a couple minutes. I just want to, I want to just focus on a couple other points here. Goalie. My friend Carl Boudreau, there's probably a goalie in there, and you can make the argument for that. Owen Protz as well. I'm talking about needing sandpaper, blah blah blah, and that's what Owen Protz brings. But he's a left defenseman. There's work to do there. Will he be better than Xhekaj and Struble? Maybe. We'll have a better idea in a year with him. He's certainly in that mix for top 10. Mooney, him. There's some goalies. Which of the goalies stands out more than any of the others? I mean, you could argue that Cornwall is the best prospect of them. You can argue Volokin, you can argue Miller, you can even say maybe Radkoff is. But it's too early for any of them. I think none have leapt way ahead of the others. They're all good goalie prospects, but the fact remains that Montreal's third-ranked prospect is a goalie, and none of them, I don't see any of them end up being better than Fowler, at least not at this point. Not that it can't happen in the future. But Dobish is young too, right? And I don't see, and there's only 2 spots in the future available in net, and it's Dobish and Fowler's for now. Do any of these prospects look better than Dobish did at the same age playing at Ohio State? I don't think so. Dobish is inconsistent, but there's a lot of potential there for him too, right? So because of that, I think Papanicus, I think Thorpe, I think Davidson, I think Xhekaj, those 4 forwards have a better chance of being regulars in Montreal's lineup in the future than any of the goalies outside of Fowler in the system right now. And that's why none of them are in my top 10. But hey, Cornwall keeps playing like he had been. He let in 4 last night. So if he'd have got a shutout last night, maybe I'd have had him 10th or something, because he had been on a roll. But it's his first, it's his first season college hockey, and it's not a big enough sample size. I look back to the days, because I've been doing the Habs rankings for a lot of years. Well, since I launched Recruits Montreal Canadiens in 2018 or 2017, I guess it was the summer, doing top 20 lists. And I can think back to, the days when I had Charlie Lindgren, top 5 or 6, Caden Primo, top 3 or 4, top 5. And if you look back on those rankings now, you'd say, those guys were ranked too high. So goalies are the least predictable, the toughest to rank. None of them have clearly stepped ahead, other than Fowler, right? None of the next tier you could say for sure, okay, well that guy's head and shoulders above the others. Volokin's a little older, but he's playing in Russia. He kind of bouncing, you know. He had great stats on a junior team that I mean, I'd study them and look at the games, and he'd have about 3 shots from within 20 feet. Everything was to the outside. Like he barely had to make a good save most nights. And it was like, okay, now I know why his save percentage is 930 or 940. It wasn't because he was standing on his head. It was just the team, was stout defensively, and they rarely gave up any golden opportunities. Now this year, he's had some good games, and he might be, he might end up being better than Dovish. Conway might end up being better than Dovish. Miller might end up, Radkov, maybe, but not at this point. None of them you can clearly say, oh no, they're a top 10 prospect because they're going to be better than Dovish and Fowler. So that's why none of them are in the top 10 right now either. I really think all of the guys in the top 10 stand a decent chance of playing for Montreal, with the possible exception of Engstrom, who I think definitely plays somewhere else if he doesn't play in Montreal. He's going to be an NHL defenseman and maybe a 4 or 5, right? Now, Florian's got to improve his skating, but we've seen progress each year from him in that regard, except maybe this year. I think he may have put on a little too much weight in the off season, and that's something you have to learn and balance, right? He's trying to get big enough to fight against heavyweights and try to make the NHL, but Slav, I think, did it one off season too, right? Where he came in and put on 20 pounds, and it maybe wasn't the best idea. So, but hey, it's a learning process. What the highlights I showed, that's how he's got to play. He's not going to be a sniper in the NHL. He'll be able to score the odd goal. I'd love to see a line of Thorpe, Papanicus, and Xhekaj someday. If they all develop as hoped, and as hoped when they were drafted, that could just be such an impactful fourth line in the NHL that helps the Canadiens win a playoff time. And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, right? You're trying to build a contender that can win playoff games for you. So Reinbacher, Zborowski, Fowler, Hage, Pickford, top 5. Next group, I've got Engstrom 6, Xhekaj 7, Thorpe 8, Davidson 9, Papanicus 10. So there's my top 10. And again, as I noted at the very start of the show, this will change. You can guarantee that in February or March or whenever I do my next list, I might even do it, probably 2 months from now, I'll be saying, ooh, that list looks bad. I better update it and put out another one. It might even be February, but you can be rest assured that it will look different the next time. And I'll look at your suggestions here, and some of them will come true, I'm sure. Koivus, Sawyer, Protz, some of the guys, Konyushkov, Miller, Volokin, Philip Eriksson, I really like too. Owen Beck obviously is he's kind of the forgotten guy. He was top 5 for all that time, and now he's not even in the top 10 right now. You could make an argument for Beck. It was close for him at 10 too, but what's bothering me is that we're not seeing an improvement, right? He's got 8 points or something this year. It's a concern that he seems to be stalling in his development. But we can't count out Owen Beck either. It was tough to not have Owen Beck in my top 10 because I mean I've debated Snake on that before, and there's one where Snake, it looks like, got it right, and that I may have gotten it wrong. That Beck doesn't have third line center or even third line NHL upside at this point. He'll be lucky to get a fourth line spot at this rate. But these are all young players. Some of them will turn it around. Even Philip Meshar, you can't completely count him out, although I never even considered him for the top 10. Vinny Rohr, he's taken a step back this year too. William Trudeau, he's not that old. There's not much to dislike about William Trudeau's game, but it's a numbers thing, right? I mean, it's the same with Owen Protz. If he wasn't a left defenseman, I'd probably have him top 10. Sam Harris just keeps scoring at the college level. I mean, these are all viable, good prospects. Even Luke Middlestat starting to look good, in his, I think it's his third year college, but he's been solid in Minnesota, right? I mean, it just goes to show. And you know who else I even like quite a bit is Rasmus Bergqvist. He's a really solid defenseman in Sweden that maybe on some teams is in consideration for the top 10, right? Logan Sawyer, people have been telling me that Snake told me too that he really likes him, and hey, I liked him quite a bit in his draft year. I liked his he's got really good hands, like there's skill there. I just don't like you can't have the same thing over and over again, right? He's a poor man's Zurofsky. So where's the spot for him in the top 9 down the line? A very poor man's Zurofsky. He's not not as big, not going to be as good a skater. Not playing center and two-way, right? So yeah, it's Koivu too. He's kind of hasn't had a great year, but he's playing against men, and who knows? Like, it could take him a couple of years to adjust. We'll get a better idea of Koivu, I think, at the World Juniors. I expect to see him there this year. LJ Mooney, it'll be fun to see LJ at the World Juniors if he makes the team. Although, I've seen a lot of small forwards play well for the U.S. At World Juniors in the past that haven't gotten a sniff in the NHL. But there's no denying his speed and skill level. He's fun to watch. Certainly at the junior level, very fun. Will it translate into a job with the Canadiens down the line? Maybe. I just find it hard to slot him in a spot at this point, and that's why he's not in my top 10. Hey, this isn't easy. Now I know how Doug Armstrong feels. He's going to get criticism, and you can justifiably say, well, what about this guy? That's that guy, this, that, the other thing. Listen, if you're watching this on X and you vehemently disagree with me, and I'm sure there's lots that do, hop on over to YouTube, join in, and leave some responses in the live chat if you don't mind. I'm going to get to a few here now. Ooh, I kind of expected more comments, but we'll see here. I need a drink after talking for 45 minutes here. I feel like I've heard some members of media finally started conceding that Kapanen is much better than they thought. Well, that's good. It takes time. Hey, there'll be still some that after he's has 20 goals, they'll still be, I don't know. Looks like a fifth line center. Eric, it's always nice when you come out there. Yeah, there'll be. That's the other thing with guys like LJ Mooney, Sawyer, guys that you kind of want. If they're going to win spots in the NHL down the road, it's going to probably have to be a top 9 role, ideally. Yet Montreal in the next draft will pick a top 9, like a forward with top 9 potential, right? And then they might move back one more peg. Like if Montreal had 12 top 9 spots on the roster, then LJ Mooney be in my top 10 all day. But there's only 9, if that makes sense. Yeah, Papanicus could end up being on the wing. But again, they'll maybe get a left-hand center at some point, and that could change things. But I don't dwell on this right-hand, left-hand center. The Canadiens are proving this year that you've got 4 really good, or 3. I don't think Veleno's really good, but you can get away with having 4 right-hand centers, but they got to win faceoffs. As long as they win faceoff. Okay. Foot speed. Okay, go Habs, go. What foot speed, what? I don't know what you mean, who you're talking about there. How about Florian's night back in Laval? Well, he had 2 goals, but that's not, Florian him going down and scoring some goals in Laval isn't what's going to get him back to the NHL. It's proving his speed and playing a physical up and down game more than anything, in my opinion. Edgley, I like Thorpe a lot. Could be very useful 4th liner for sure. Yeah, he's just like 6'5" guys. Hey, remember McCarron? Took him frig till he was 25, till he grew into his body and was effective. Thorpe's a lot better skater than McCarron was at the same age. So, but he can fight too and handle himself. Like we haven't seen it at the AHL level yet, but like I say, next year I expect the breakthrough for him. Remember Jared Davidson's first year in Laval? He was barely playing, right? Wasn't producing, barely playing. So it's just a matter of big guys take a little longer as a rule. I think Thorpe's a year away from having an impact in the AHL, but we'll see next year. I do believe that you'll say, okay, I see where this guy can help the Canadiens in a bottom line role where he kind of replaces a guy like Anderson or whatever, right? Smash the likes, hit the bell. Hey, Scotty George or whatever, Skoy George. Boy George is Scottish cousin. Yeah, hit the like button. Join us here on at live chat. Give me your thoughts on that. Surely some of you don't agree with that list. Tell me who you think should be in there. I know that there are people that think Mooney. I saw one person say Cornwallis, and sure, but 12 months ago Cornwallis was playing for the Truro Bearcats, right? So we'll see. It's early yet. Goalies are so friggin' unpredictable, Yeah, but if you ask me, out of the next tier of goalies right now, which one I like the most, I mean, I'm no goalie expert, but from what I've seen so far, I like this Cornwall kid quite a bit. He's got potential, for sure. Just top 10, is just a little early yet to be making that call on him, I do believe. Do I think Florian can improve his skating significantly enough to be an offensive threat in the NHL? No, I think he can score some goals, but that's not going to be his role. He's going to have to, he's going to have to up and down, hit, forecheck, cause turnovers. I can see, a fourth line of Papanicus, Thorpe, and Xhekaj could, they could be physical, they can be hard forechecking, but they all have the capability of getting some points too. So there's some nice potential there. Yet it's still a fourth line, and you don't typically have 20 goal scorers on your fourth line. Never say never. Maybe he can be a third liner someday. Maybe one of them. Maybe they'll be the third line. Who knows for sure? GLG. Good morning, then afternoon. Damn time flies. Yeah, I hear you. Miller. Well, I did see. I figured people would weigh in with goalie. I've looked at Miller, and not Denver's pretty stout defensively. I haven't seen him have to make a pile of bellwether saves. Mind you, he was the NCHC goaltender of the month last month. He is a rookie. So far, so good. His stats are great. But last year he was mediocre. Again, I'd like to see a goalie be good for 2 years in a row at least. Not there can be this flash in the pan thing, and then people say, "Oh, what about this guy?" I like it to be over a longer period of time than a couple of months, right? And that goes for Cornwall and Miller. So that's why I don't. It's hard to rank either of them over, a guy like Papanicus, who was a third-round pick, who brings all the elements that the Canadians could sorely use if he puts it together and is consistent. It's tough for me anyway. It's tough to envision either of those guys. You saying, "Oh well," they stand a better chance of beating out Dovish than Papanicus does winning a spot to replace Gallagher or Anderson or even Evans, like in 2 or 3 years, right? I think that's a lot better. Fourth year from Middlestat. Yeah, well, I said I think the third, so I knew it was third or fourth. He had a year. That was the deal. His third year since drafted. That's probably what I should have said. Third year in college. Cannot remember last time the Habs had 3-4 serious young goaltender. Yeah, well, again, hold the phone on that. There was a Lindgren, Primo, and who was the other? There was a time you thought, oh, Canadians have who was it? Daichow? Dechow. Then Dechow went to the World Championships and was lights out and stuff, and thought, oh, Canadians have 3 really promising goalies in the system, and we saw how that worked out. Mind you, Lindgren has now carved out a career. Again, goalies. Jarosky is 1. He's 1, yep. Give me Jarosky over Reinbacher. Yeah, well, okay. Well, I scout these guys for a lot, and there are reasons why. And then, hey, Montreal picked, every team in the NHL was picking Reinbacher top 10. No teams picked Zhirowski in the top 30. So we can say, we know better than every NHL team, but there's reasons why Reinbacher was top 5, and we're seeing it. If you really watch and you understand the value of a big right defenseman that can do everything, over a fancy Russian who we have no idea if he'll, there's a lot unknown with Zhirowski. If offense and potential goals, like Zhirowski's not really a goal scorer. Like, he doesn't have a great shot. So I don't see him ever being like a 30, 40 goal scorer. But if a guy that scores 50 to 70 points, but 10 of them are highlight reel, which is probably what Zhirowski will be. He'll score goals that'll make or he'll make a pass and make but he'll be 50 to 70, okay defensively. Is that better than a 25-minute all situation shutdown right defenseman? It's not even close. So, fine. I mean, we can argue all day that Zhirowski should be ahead of Reinbacher, but no, not at this point. We'll see. Philip Eriksson, yeah. I did mention him. He's been my underrated prospect. Early in the year, Rick asked me who's my most underrated Habs prospect, and I said Philip Eriksson. Now, does he have a spot in the Habs lineup? It's a long shot. Hey, 6th-round picks on a team that's probably had 40 higher than that in the last 5 years, or something crazy like that, 30. It's a long shot, and same with Rohrer. Rohrer, go look at his stats this year. Edgley, he's been taking a step back. This was his year. If he wanted to be in the discussion there, yeah, he's not taking another step. In fact, he's regressed a bit this year. So, yeah. Oh, we got people with Rohrer and oh boy, yeah. Mm-hmm. Where are Mooney, Sawyer, Rohrer, Eriksson going to play? Are they like? You really think Montreal could win playoff games with a bottom 6 that has LJ Mooney, Logan Sawyer, Vinny Rohrer, Philip Eriksson? Like, the big guy out of that group's Logan Sawyer, and last time he threw a hit was in Pee Wee, probably. Like, it can't just be a team of guys that you think will score points. You can't. That's not how you make an NHL lineup that wins. It's just not going to work. There's no size there. So, Reinbach or Hage second. Oh boy. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't like that list. I'm not gonna. Obviously you don't like my list, and right back at you. Why does Joe Veleno have Marty's trust so much? Well, who's the 4th-line center right now instead of Joe Veleno? He's got his trust because they've got 4 forwards out with injuries. That's the only, he was signed to be the extra forward, and if all these guys weren't injured, he'd be the extra forward. But 4 forwards out. Like, who else other than Veleno centers the 4th line right now? It's a short list, isn't it? He's got his trust because he doesn't have anyone else that can play there right now. Yeah, he does have serious stats, but I'm I'm careful with goalies. I've seen a lot of goalies great stats, and where's Dryden McKay? He had even like way better stats, fantastic stats. You look at the last 5 goalies in college hockey that had great stats. Are any of them playing in the NHL? There aren't too many. It's you know, I looked. I'm thinking, oh, he's player of the month, player of this, that, the other thing. He's player of the month because of his stats, not because of his play. Where's Dryden McKay? He's in the ECHL, right? Absolutely lights out in college. 176, 131, 154, 131 goals against average his 4 years in college. And he's playing in the ECHL, you know. But anyway, I went and I looked at Quentin Miller. I probably have to go through 10 games to come up with a nice save, a highlight, and I just didn't have the time. Like I went through 2-3 games, and I was like, oh frick, when am I going to see a nice save here? It was, hit him in the shot from the outside, did that. So I'm tempering my enthusiasm, especially when I saw him the last 2 years, and he didn't look like the 30th ranked prospect in the Canadiens organization. When he wasn't playing for a great team like Denver in college, he was more than ordinary. Fought injuries too, right? So you got to keep all these things in perspective, and just not 2 months into his college career, like let's not anoint him as the next starter for the Montreal Canadiens. Good for him that he's off to this good start. Good for Cournoyer that up until last night's game, he had a run of games where he only let in 1 or 2 goals a game. Right now, from what I've seen, I think I give the edge to Cournoyer, but I'm no goalie expert. None of us are goalie experts. We can look at the stats and we can, hope and predict, but it's Dovish and Fowler for me are the two most proven, and until further notice, there's nobody there that to me says, oh well, he's definitely going to be better than those two. Unfortunately, there's only 2 spots in the future, right? And Dovish is young, and Fowler's even younger. But it's a fun discussion. I get a little worked up at times, but it's passion. I'm passionate about it, and I love talking. I love talking prospects, but I try to explain my reasoning. And hey, I have a lot of experience in. I scouted. I've dealt with. I've picked NHL GMs and NHL scouts brains for 20 years, and you gain a lot of background, and you understand the thought process that goes behind a lot of picks and a lot of managerial decisions, and why certain guys get picked as high as they do, why others don't, why um you know um hotshot juniors sometimes with good stats just don't have what it takes to play in the NHL, and the reasoning why, right? But don't get me wrong, the 10 guys that I have listed today won't be Montreal's top 10 prospects, so I can only be so adamant in my arguments for or against. There's certainly arguments that can be made for Mooney and a lot of guys, but I like the fact that a lot of people here, because Philip Eriksson going into the year, hardly anyone said boo about him, and I was on his bandwagon. Like he was my, you know, um, Oliver Kapanen been my underrated prospect for the previous 3 years, and going into this year and the start of this year, Philip Eriksson to me, it is and was the guy that was underrated, but he has slowed down. Lulela the last month or two, they came out of the gate there. He was a top 10 scorer or leading the SHL in scoring at the start of the year. But he the team has really cooled off, and so is he. So we'll see. They were at the top of the league. They won the league last year. I thought it was pretty cool that a team that won the SHL last year brings him in, and they played him on the top line, which is kind of surprising. But he's a smart player. Again, undersized, and Canadiens ideally are looking for size, grit, skill combo in in the middle two lines that can help them when it comes to playoff time down the road. And I don't know, will Philip Eriksson fit that? Maybe. It depends. Like there's some Marty Lehkonen in him too, eh? And there's always a spot for that type of player if he's just so smart and competitive that he can make up for his lack of size and his size skating combination is not fantastic, but he competes. His skating has gotten a lot better. He is undersized though, and guys like Xhekaj and Jarosky probably have the edge on him finding spots in the top 9 down the road. There aren't many. That's the ticket. That's the issue with these guys. There aren't many spots available. Like the guys that I'll have ranked 11 to 20, maybe a couple of them play for the Canadiens. That the Canadiens have what I think is the best under 25 core in the league. So it makes it tough. It really does. Bring in the Rhino. We want to see him. Yeah, Mishar. Like, I don't know. Frig. I don't know if Mishar. Well, he wouldn't be in my top 15. I don't know if he'd even be in my top 20 right now. And that's a freaking first round pick from 3 years ago. It's unfortunate, but just not looking like a guy that has NHL potential right now. Again, if he was maybe in another organization, maybe he'd be, 10 to 15 in their rankings, but Montreal right now, because they don't need another their top 6 is looking really set. And Meshar is kind of do you want him on your bottom 6? Probably not. In all honesty, I'd rather Fowler over Xhekaj and Jarosky. Well, yeah, I know goalies are hit and miss, but this would be bank on Fowler actually meeting his potential. I would have Ryan Bacher. Yeah, well, hey, I think you can interchange the top 4 any way you want, except I wouldn't have Ryan Bacher 4. But the other 3, for sure, you could have Fowler 2, Xhekaj 3, Jarosky 4, right? You could have Xhekaj 2, Fowler 3, Jarosky 4. You could have Xhekaj 2, Jarosky 3, Fowler 4. You could have Fowler 2, Xhekaj 3, Jarosky 4, Fowler 2, Jarosky 3, Xhekaj 4. Yeah, I don't. For me, there's 4 guys, and you can make an argument. You can make arguments for any of them, even Reinbacher not being the top guy. But for me, it's until further notice. It has to be Reinbacher number 1. There's just there's too much potential there. Too much value. Have they spoken to Florian and told him to work on his skating speed? Oh, yeah. Hey, Johnny, thanks for always good to see you. Sorry, I talk for a lot here and I need to drink. There we go. Where does the veteran presence come from? Trades? Yeah, well, that's the thing too, right? They'll be adding a vet or two at some point. Like they're not just gonna, Anderson plays his contract out, Gallagher plays his contract out, Evans doesn't get re-signed, let's say. They're not just gonna bring up young guys and just have, where the oldest guy in the lineup's Suzuki at 28 or something. They'll likely have a vet or two, and that only makes it tougher for guys like Sawyer and Mooney and these guys that ideally will have to play in your top 9. And it's just, I don't know if there'll be if there'll ever be spots, but that's a pleasant thing for the Canadiens. Too much depth. But yes, the Canadiens, if and when they're contending, will make deals for a couple of veterans to round out spots. It's you got to have them, and who knows who they'll be, but there's that factor too, right? And also drafting first round guys. They'll knock some of these guys down another slot or two. Canadiens keep drafting well. Which D-man will be traded? Good question. I don't have that answer. I think Engstrom is and that's one of the reasons, talking about veterans, you need veterans, and these guys are slowly but surely, the younger guys are becoming veterans on the blue line. And Engstrom isn't a veteran. Do they want to bring up another rookie defenseman? Because Reinbach will be coming up. Is there 2 more going to be worked in? They already worked in 5 or 6 over the last 3 years. Do you want 2 more over the next year? It's probably not. So Engstrom, I think, is the best bet to be traded. And that's not because I don't like him. It's because he's a good asset. Why don't junior players develop a two-way game as a necessary part of their aspirations to being a pro hockey player? I don't. So you're saying what, college players develop a two-way game and junior players don't, or what leagues develop two-way players more so than junior? Is it? I don't know about that. I can name you quite a few. Anthony Cirelli, maybe the best two-way player on the planet. Patrice Bergeron before that. I can name a pile of good two-way NHLers that came out of the CHL. Maybe you can give some examples there, Jimbo, but I'm not sure I agree with that question. Would I ever return to scouting? No, I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. I kind of like what I'm doing now, to be honest with you. I don't like travel. I don't like living in hotel rooms and travel into cities and all that stuff. There's a bunch of reasons. If I was 15 years younger, I'd be more interested in it, but maybe on a part-time basis, maybe video scouting, I could be convinced, but I'm not pursuing it. I haven't put a resume out ever. But I thank you, Edgley, for asking, and the kind comments. Dan Mason, you're a Miller fan? Okay, good. Well, I mean, his stats are fine, right? Stats have been great, but when I've looked at him, not getting a lot of dangerous opportunities. It's early. I think Denver's got a really good defensive team, and we'll see. But if Miller had been good the last 2 years, I'd be higher on him. But I'm always careful with this small sample size thing, especially when you go to a team and all of a sudden your stats are great and they weren't before. Oftentimes it's a system in the team as much as it is the goalie. But got to hand it to him. He's obviously improved, and maybe it's maybe he just needed the right goalie coach, right? Had a good season off season training. He's healthy now too. That helps. But I'm just I'm a little been burnt before with the Primos and the Dechows, and there was a couple of Russian goalies too that the Habs picked back in the day that were supposed to be really good too, right? Never saw hide nor hair of them there. I'll just let me see here. Like I remember Daichow. You'd see him at World Juniors or Worlds, and oh wow, he looks like a star, and he never comes close to the NHL. So goalies, you got to be careful with. I'm just going to go quickly back over here. I'm curious. Some of the goalies, Joe Verbetic, remember him, 6'6". Thought, oh, he could be something. No, Frederick Daichow had some great, had some great stats. Looked like he was going to be a good one. Caden Primo, you go through it, and Hayden Hockey, yeah, brings back a lot of memories. Remember Martin Rewey? He was going to be a superstar because he had a good World Junior. I watched him in Hull, and it's like, ooh, that doesn't translate to the NHL, guys. You can be really, there've been a lot of guys that had great World Junior tournaments that had trouble even making the AHL. But there's a few. And of course, when they signed Lindgren. There's Mark. Hey, Mark. Glad you could make it out. I hate these guys, the regulars that come out late, and then I feel guilty leaving. But I'll probably go till I'll go an hour and a half here, another 12 minutes. McDavid would be a great veteran to add to our lineup. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, Crosby too, as Go Habs said. Our young team has a lot of experience, which slows the idea of veteran to curve. Slav has experience. Yeah, but there's not a team in the NHL that didn't have some guys over 30. You got to have a couple. Yeah. And, Matheson's one, I guess. Kent and Gordon are doing an amazing job. We have an embarrassment of riches in young players. I agree, Marcus. Well, where do you have Fucali? Yeah. Where did you have Fucali? There's another one. He was a winner, right? freaking Halifax. He was a big part of that. I had him. I don't think I had him ranked as high as like Montreal took him a little higher than maybe I thought, but I figured he was going in the second round somewhere. You had to kind of. I mean, all the kid did was win, right? But again, there's an example. It's you have to go beyond the numbers sometimes. With goalies, it's not always like Halifax had a great team too. You know, um, obviously had something to do with it. Juniors get tons of points, Kinney, but are not strong checkers. Well, I mean, there's that in every league, Jimbo. There's you know, there's point getters, there's one-way guys, there's two-way guys. I wouldn't say that it's more prevalent at the junior level than any other. In fact, they're probably more prone to be teaching kids to play two-way game, you know. Kidney's main issue is just not having had to shovel snow. Okay, just not having enough foot speed and still maturing. You know, it's the AHL for an undersized kid. If you don't have good skating, it's a tough jump. It really is. I don't know that he's struggling just because he's not good defensively. It's more just the size. I think it's the size skating thing with Kidney more than anything. The kid still looks like he's 16, you know. Liked him a lot in junior, but smart player, like a really sees the ice well, can really make plays, but the size skating in you know. All right, so for the late comers there, like Mark, Snow Shoveler. So here's my top 10. Okay, why is that? Reinbacher, Jarosky, Fowler, Page, Pickford. Are my top 5. Engstrom, Xhekaj, Thorpe, Davidson, Papanicus. Now, I'm not in love with this list. Like, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't bet anybody $100 that, yeah, these are the top 10 prospects on the Habs without question. There's certainly, you know, room for debate there, even if I might say, well, you're crazy with your opinion, but that's what this is all about, right? Smash the bell, cross-check the like. There you go. Hayden the Sailor Man. Yeah. Oh, we're getting a couple of new folks in here. We're up over 400 that are watching. Again, if you're on X watching this, hop on over for a bit. I'm going to be here a few more minutes, so you better hurry. Still not giving up on Beck. No, you can't. Beck's just right now he's taking a step back. You know, there could be a lot of reasons for that. He might have worked. Sometimes, you know, in the off season, you work on some part of physical training that maybe ends up hurting you, you know, or got a little too top heavy or whatever the case may be. Like, I think it happened with Florian a bit. I don't see an improvement in his skating from last year to this year. Did he put on too much weight over the past 12 months? It's possible. And maybe Beck did the same thing. I don't know. But sometimes, you know, you discover at the end of the year that, oh, okay, I'm going to have to. And then next off seasons, both of those guys, right? Next year, Beck and Xhekaj, they will have pivotal off seasons to train and get better. Same with Thorpe, same with Davidson, same with pretty much everybody really. That's not that's not playing in the NHL, but those guys in particular, I think, are going to need to have really good. You're not giving opinion, you're giving well-informed opinion. Okay, thank you. I'm seeing online posts about guy from Vancouver, but the guy who was talking smack to Slav being traded for Bolduc. Yeah. Those online rumors, Edgley? Why they just dealt Logan Mailloux for Bolduc, who's 22, and they would turn around and trade him for a 30-year-old, maybe, if they've given up on Bolduc. But geez, the Kent Hughes doesn't come across as the type of guy that 2 months after trading for somebody says, I was wrong about that, and we're going to give up on him. They tend to be, like you saw Alex Newhook, right? Took 3 years, but he was living up to, he was proving why Kent Hughes made that deal with his play to start this year. They didn't give up on him right away. Justin Barron, even though it looked like, geez, don't know about that trade. They gave him 2 years before they said, okay, maybe we better trade him for this Carrier kid. Like, there's been no moves that he made or trades and then turn around, and it always looks bad when you trade for somebody and make a fairly significant trade, and then within 2 to 3 months you trade that player again. It's unlikely. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to have to be patient with Bolduc. The kid was a 2-time 50-goal scorer in the queue. He had 19 goals as a rookie last year. Was on a 40-goal pace the second half of last year. So I don't know that it would be smart to say after 25 games, let's trade for this 30-year-old who's having a career year, who also happened to tell Slav that, going to knock him out of the Olympics, which I don't think. I have a feeling that blew his chances of being part of the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, and it's hard to predict the tenders. The Habs have a number of tender possibilities, more than many organizations. Yeah. And one of them is Dovish. We still don't know, right? Well, we don't know Dovish or Fowler. We don't know what we have for sure. But I would certainly, Fowler looks like the real deal. Dovish, at this point, it's hard to say any of these guys. You can't be adamant about any of them being better than Dovish right now. And hey, if there were 4 goalie spots available, I'd probably have Cornway in the top 10 or something. But only 2 spots, and there's 2 young guys who I think are clearly ahead, more proven at this point. So right now, none of the goalies are in my top 10, but as I say, get back to me in 3 months. And if Cornway keeps doing what he's doing, if Miller starts making acrobatic saves and is, the goalie of the month every month in the NCHC, then you start to say, okay, well, maybe these guys are the real deal. Or Volokin, there's a bunch. Emmett Croteau, he had the best save percentage in college, but he's only played 3 games, so he's a backup. Show me the top 5 again. Well, you got to watch the show there, Skoy George. Reinbacher, Jurowski, Fowler, Hage, Pickford. Fowler could be 2, could be 4. But I think those 4 are the top 4, whatever order you like. You're welcome there, Skoy George. Oh, Slav is a franchise guy. It's funny. I heard, I was listening sports radio this morning, and all of a sudden, geez, we were saying that Slav doesn't have the to be he's not ever going to live up to his top being a first overall pick, but geez, he's looking like he might be this year. Yes. You freaking don't judge these guys. You don't judge a 6'3", 225-pound guy when he's 19 years old. I've been saying it for 3 years. You wait. You got to wait. You don't friggin' judge any pick. I don't care if you're first overall or 50th overall. 6'3", 225 pounds playing in the NHL at 18, 19, 20 years of age. You don't judge their careers and their potential and say, oh, he can't be a first liner in the NHL. Too many people are impatient and think that they don't. It doesn't occur to them that a 6'3", 225-pound guy needs time to adjust to the best league in the world. All it was a matter of time with Slav. You got to figure things out. You got to figure out times. You come from Slovakia. You're playing in Finland, and you come to the NHL, and it's this much better. You're 18 years of age. I expected struggles. I really did. And, you gotta learn how to shoot. You've got to learn where to put your stick. You got to learn where to find the openings on the ice. You got to learn how to protect the puck against NHL players. Like, he got away with things in Europe because he was just bigger than everybody else and stronger, even at 18. But that's not the case in the NHL. Now he knows, like, people get to him a lot quicker, right? He got caught off guard his first couple of years with hits where he wasn't expecting that speed or strength. Now he's got the experience. Now he knows, okay, these guys get to me a little quicker. Okay, I got to brace a little quicker. Okay, I have to protect the puck a little better. All of those things take experience and making mistakes and figuring it out. And he's done it. He's been like, there's still room to improve, and that's the fun part about Slav. There's only the best is yet to come. Like, this isn't the finished product. It's far from it, but we're getting closer to seeing what the finished product will be. And that's pretty impressive, isn't it? And it's neat when you, like, I had a fellow on here the other day that Radchak that, said, oh, I was really impressed by that Slavkovsky kid. Guys, media from other teams now are noticing each time that they see him now, that they notice the dramatic improvement in his game, right? So that's pretty cool. So, okay, I'll give it a few, couple more minutes here. Prediction on the game tonight. Oh, I don't know. I'm not big on predictions. We'll say Habs. I don't know. Habs pull it out 4-3. The Habs don't seem to be able to give up 2 goals very often, so they're going to have to score a few. Josh Anderson playing in Toronto. You can expect Josh Anderson goal. What else? maybe Slav keeps it going. It'd be nice if Cappy got another one. Maybe Demi. Yeah. Habs 4-3. Does that sound like a... Does that sound good? Joss, Slav, and Capo. Yeah, that's what I said. Galley with the Hattie tonight. Hey. Hey, Mark. No problem, man. I got to save my voice a little bit for the post-game show. Everyone going to show up for the post-game tonight? I told the young lad, hey, I got the gaming room here after the game, so I hope folks can show up. All right. Galley with the Hattie, that'd be good. Habs win 5-1, that'd be even better. Hudson with a goal, that'd be cool. Be patient, this team's going to be an absolute powerhouse for years to come. Habs 4, Leafs 1. Yeah, Habs don't win by 3 goals against the Leafs too often. Last one was kind of a here's an idea, try to project when each of your top 10 might reach the NHL. Okay. Yeah, all right. Reinbacher, 2 months. Jarosky, 3 years. Fowler, next year, if not this year. Hage, he's going to need a year in the AHL, a couple of years. Pickford, 3 years. Engstrom, playing on another NHL team, maybe later this year or next year. Xhekaj, next year. Thorpe, he's 3 years away. Davidson, well, he's kind of, if not the rest of this year, next year, if he makes it. Papanicus, I'd say he's 3 years away. So that's, how's that? Asking ye shall receive. I'll be here for the post game. Wouldn't miss it. Good man. That's good to know. All right, folks. Make sure you got a few beers, Grant, for the after show. Yeah, I'll have a couple down here. Maybe I'll bring down 3. The Habs win. I'm more tempted to have more than one. Leafs playing better, so it should be a good game. Goaltending might be suspect on both sides. Who's in nets tonight? Is Woll in? I know Woll's been playing better. I thought it was 6 p.m. Uh-oh. Not yet. All right. Well, look, I got to save my voice a bit here. And I said I'd start making these shows a little shorter, so gonna go. We will see you right after the game. I'll be set up, ready to go. Appreciate you watching my Habs prospect, 6-10. I thought there'd be more disagreement, but hey, you guys know better, right? Okay. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you tuning in. We will see you after the Habs Leafs game tonight. Bye for now.